Millionaire returns home early, only to discover an incredible, life-changing surprise. Nathan Reynolds gripped the steering wheel of his sleek black SUV as he drove the familiar roads leading back to his small Midwestern hometown. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows, and memory swirled around him like a restless wind. Here he was, a self-made millionaire in the very town that once felt like a cage, suddenly feeling a pull toward the life he had left behind. The laughter of children playing in front yards echoed in his ears, despite the weight of regret resting heavily on his shoulders. His father had been a mechanic, a steadfast presence in his youth, tirelessly working long hours in the garage. Nathan could almost see him now, covered in grease, a reassuring smile breaking through the exhaustion. His grandmother had been the heart of their home, always instilling values of humility and kindness. She diminished her own dreams to raise him and his father, pouring her passion for art into worn-out canvases rather than community projects. Shame wormed into Nathan's chest as he recalled the countless family dinners replaced by business meetings, every negotiation pulling him further from the people who mattered most. Upon reaching his childhood home, Nathan hesitated. The door creaked open, revealing the stale aura of neglect. Echoes of laughter faded, leaving only silence. With a deep breath, he climbed the stairs to the attic, a treasure trove of dust and nostalgia. He rummaged through old boxes, unearthing childhood drawings and crumpled letters from his grandmother. The words felt like a lifeline, speaking of her dream to create an art center that could revive the town's spirit, a dream buried under circumstances he had long distanced himself from. But the deeper he delved, the more troubling his findings became. News from the town paper filled him with dread, plans for a development project spearheaded by his old childhood nemesis, the town's cocky mayor, once a thorn in his side. The project threatened not just the neighborhood he once called home, but the very essence of the town. A fire ignited in Nathan's gut. How could he, a man with wealth and resources, stand idly by while the community that shaped him was bulldozed under greed? Before he could spiral into further despair, the doorbell rang, slicing through his internal conflict. A local artist stood on the porch, breathless with urgency, eyes ablaze with passion. As they spoke, the artist revealed how the mayor's plans would erase decades of history and silence the voices that mattered. Those dreams, the very ones that Nathan had unwittingly abandoned, fought to resurface in his mind. The fear of his grandmother's legacy being lost forever began to morph into a desperate intensity. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the artist's words hung in the air, the undertow of Nathan's life pulled harder. He felt himself teetering at the edge of a precipice, caught between the world he had built and the past he couldn't shake off. With each breath, he grappled with the reality of this moment. Could he rise above it all, challenging the very man who had mocked him in childhood? What would his success mean if he prioritized profit over principle? He felt it then, a tightening in his chest, the suffocating weight of responsibility against his desperate desires. Nathan stood frozen, knowing that the path forward could endanger everything he had built for himself. A decision loomed closer, one that would redefine him, but time was running out. Would he step into the light and confront not only the mayor, but his own buried convictions? The silence around him thickened as he wrestled with the echoes of his past and visions for the present. This was where it all began, and where it could all end. The air felt electrified as Nathan turned back to the artist, their earnest eyes echoing the desperate hope that now dwelled in his heart. This wasn't merely about land or development. It was about legacy and values that had been neglected for too long. He felt a flicker of determination. It was time. "Tell me everything you know," Nathan said, his voice steadying as he leaned in closer. The realization that he held the potential to make a difference began to shatter the cocoon of uncertainty that had wrapped itself around him since his return. With urgency, the artist detailed the mayor's plans, the community's trepidation, and their unquenchable desire to preserve their heritage. Nathan listened intently, absorbing every word, as if they were pieces of a puzzle falling into place. When the artist finished, a moment of silence hung between them, charged with possibility. Nathan felt the weight of his wealth not as a burden, but as a beacon of opportunity. He could leverage it toward a cause greater than himself. Images of his grandmother smiling as she painted, the vibrant strokes of her brush capturing life, surged through his mind. He resolved to tap into that legacy, to reinvigorate her dream. He looked at the artist, who still radiated fervor. "Let's organize a meeting. We need to rally the community and confront the mayor together." There was no turning back now. Nathan understood that this was not just a fight against a project. It was an opportunity to revive the essence of a town that meant everything to him. Over the next few days, Nathan poured himself into this new mission. He reached out to former neighbors, friends from high school, and anyone who would listen. He felt like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone, revealing the form hidden within. Each conversation deepened his resolve, as he absorbed the stories of those still clinging to memories and dreams that were threatened by the looming development. The night before the meeting, he sat in the cold light of his childhood home, surrounded by his grandmother's paintings. He concentrated on each brushstroke, the vibrant colors pulsating with life. It dawned on him, the very essence that had fueled his grandmother's art was now fueling a new vision, forming a bridge from his past to his present. "This is my chance to honor her," Nathan whispered to himself. The next day, a palpable tension filled the town hall as citizens gathered. Nathan stood at the front, heart racing as he prepared to address them. The faces of those he had known, now weathered by time and struggle, echoed in the room. A mixture of fear and hope rippled through the crowd. They too felt the weight of the decision ahead. As he began to speak, Nathan's voice poured out with unanticipated power. He spoke of revival and dreams, the weight of history pressing upon them, and the future that was theirs to forge. "This town is not just land to be sold, it is a tapestry of our lives," he proclaimed, the echoes of his words filling the room with intensity. When he finished, the applause surged. Nathan felt a rush of validation, but a flicker of doubt threatened to curb his newfound confidence. Was this enough? As he looked across the faces of his neighbors, he understood the magnitude of what had begun. The mayor's looming presence crept into Nathan's thoughts. The man had always underestimated him, but this time Nathan was different. He had changed, forged by the very essence of his roots. The confrontation with the mayor wasn't just a battle over land. It was a test of everything he stood for. With determination swelling in him once again, Nathan's thoughts spiraled into the impending confrontation. This was a new chapter, a critical juncture in his life. The time had come to face not only the corrupt mayor, but also the shadows of self-doubt that threatened to emerge. No matter the outcome, Nathan was ready for the fight that awaited. The question lingered. Would he emerge victorious, finally shaping the narrative that had been so long overshadowed by silence? As he absorbed the crowded room, the answer hung in the air. The meeting with the mayor was set for the following week, and Nathan had barely slept in the days leading up to it. Each morning, he awoke with a knot in his stomach, acutely aware of the stakes. The fear of failure had laid its icy grip over him, whispering insidious thoughts of inadequacy. But as he paced the worn wooden floors of his grandmother's house, he steeled himself against the tide of self-doubt. With each passing hour, a plan began to form, structured around the uphill challenge he faced. Nathan knew that the mayor's approach would be aggressive. He had witnessed the man's well-oiled rhetoric in action far too often. He would have to be sharp, methodical, and above all, unyielding. Yet, he felt that the key to success lay not in confrontation alone, but in a deeper, more strategic engagement with the community itself. Late one night, under the steady glow of an antique lamp, Nathan drafted a speech for the mayor's meeting, his fingers flying across the keyboard. He wrote not just to win the emotionally charged crowd, but to carve out a narrative that intertwined emotion with undeniable facts. He decided to highlight not only the historical richness of their town, but also the potential benefits of preserving its essence: tourism, pride, and most importantly, community unity. However, Nathan recognized that it was imperative to rally a more diverse coalition than just those driven by nostalgia. He reached out to business owners, environmental advocates, and even reluctant citizens who had never been politically active. He posed questions that encouraged them to find common ground, emphasizing fears over unchecked development and the collective ownership of their shared identity. On the night before the meeting, Nathan gathered a handful of supporters in a local cafe, their voices blending in earnest discussion. As they exchanged ideas and stories over steaming cups of coffee, a flicker of hope ignited within Nathan. Ideas flowed freely, making the air thick with palpable energy. For the first time, he felt himself stepping fully into the role of a leader. After hours of collaboration, laughter, and even a few tears, Nathan absorbed their commitment and passion. He began to visualize how each person's strength could bolster his own. Each supporter represented a thread in the tapestry he was eager to weave, and the realization was transformative. This was no longer just his fight, it was a collaboration to revitalize what mattered most. As the day of the assembly arrived, Nathan arrived at the town hall early. The large room buzzed with the chatter of anxious citizens, their apprehension shared with the palpable anticipation. He took a moment to breathe, centering himself amidst the whirlwind of emotions swirling around him. It was in that stillness he found clarity. He wasn't simply trying to win a battle, he was defending a legacy. When the mayor stepped into the room, confidence radiated from his posture, a stark contrast to the audience's anxious murmurs. Nathan felt a swell of defiance rise within him as he prepared to counter the mayor's usual intimidation tactics. The stage was set for a confrontation he was determined would reshape the conversation, perhaps not only in that room, but in his own heart. As he began his address, the energy shifted. The once distant figures around him blurred into the urgent need he felt internally. Nathan's voice surged with newfound authority as he not only articulated his vision, but summoned his audience to embrace it. Together, we will not only protect this town, but define what it means to call it ours. His words echoed a fierce call to action. But beneath that rising tide of courage, Nathan could feel the mayor's disdainful glare. This was not just a test of ideas, it was a power struggle that threatened to minimize everything he had built in the past weeks. With determination, he pressed on, feeling the grip of hope tightening around him, even as shadows began to loom, threatening to cast doubt on his every word. Would his vision be enough to sway the crowd and the mayor? Or would he risk losing everything he had fought for, pushed to the very edge of his capabilities? The weight of the moment enveloped him, a single thought blazing in his mind. The next words he'd speak would hold the key to more than just a town. They could be the key to his own future. Nathan's pulse quickened as he sensed the weight of every gaze in the room descending upon him. The atmosphere throbbed with expectation, charged with emotions ranging from anger to hope. He had to choose his words with care. They held more than just meaning, they held his very future. The mayor wasted no time in launching into his rhetoric, each syllable dripping with practiced confidence. Nathan fought with the urge to react impulsively, to counter the mayor's assertions in real time, but he knew he needed to anchor himself first. He listened, allowing the mayor's bravado to wash over him, collecting data, parsing intent, and waiting for the moment to strike. What Nathan noticed was telling. The audience's shifting expressions, their body language betraying them. As the mayor painted a picture of progress, Nathan saw the flicker of doubt in some attendees' eyes. They were hoping for someone to articulate their fears, to validate their apprehensions about losing their town's essence. When he was finally given the floor again, Nathan stood a little taller, feeling the heaviness of their scrutiny transform into a shared vulnerability. He inhaled deeply, allowing the silence in the hall to build the anticipation for his response. "Mr. Mayor, while development can bring economic growth, can we honestly overlook what makes our town unique? Our history, our shared spaces, our community." His voice was steady as he directed his gaze to the crowd. The heart of this town isn't simply its buildings, it's the people, their stories, and their connections. He could see the emotional stakes climb as he drew on commonalities. Each fact he shared related back to the personal narratives he had painstakingly gathered from citizens. Nathan wasn't just delivering a speech, he was sharing a collective heartbeat, one he had felt innumerable times during those late-night conversations at the cafe. But the mayor interjected, unwavering and dismissive, framing Nathan's arguments as baseless emotional appeals, a tactic Nathan had anticipated. Knew he was up against a skilled opponent, and the tension in the air thickened as they faced off, words becoming weapons. "Isn't it naive to cling to the past while the world moves forward?" The mayor fired back, his tone dripping with condescension. The crowd seemed to hesitate, caught between their loyalty to Nathan and the comfort of familiarity with the mayor's approach. Each word the mayor spoke pounded in his chest, but amidst the rising doubts was a glimmer of clarity. This was his moment, not just against the mayor, but within himself. Did he truly believe in what he was fighting for? "Perhaps we need to redefine progress," Nathan asserted, channeling every ounce of conviction. "Instead of bulldozing through our past, why don't we build on it? Imagine merging innovation with preservation as a legacy." That statement hung in the air, the flicker of inspiration thrumming like a live wire. He emphasized the potential of creating a lifestyle that allowed for growth while honoring their heritage. As he spoke, Nathan began to sense a change swell within himself, a spark that ignited a deeper understanding of not just what he wanted to say, but why it mattered. This wasn't about winning a debate. It was about forging a sense of responsibility and legacy that extended beyond his immediate success. Finally, he turned his attention to the crowd. "This isn't merely an argument. It's a chance to stand together for our future. We cannot let a vision of profit undermine the values that make us who we are. Each one of you has a stake in this community. Your voices matter." His words resonated with many, a collective murmur surging as some began nodding, their expressions shifting toward realization. Yet Nathan's confidence wavered. The mayor's narrowed gaze was now intense, an unyielding challenge that bruised Nathan's burgeoning sense of hope. No matter how strongly Nathan articulated his vision, he realized the mayor would not easily concede to an ideal rooted in shared human experience. This was more than an argument. It was a battle of ideals where every moment felt like a fragile lifeline. Would the stirred sentiments of the crowd be enough to overcome the mayor's fierce grip on power? Or would Nathan find himself confronting more than just a political opponent, a confrontation with his own fears and limitations? Suddenly, the mayor stood, pointing towards Nathan with an unsettling gleam in his eye. "And what if the truth is that your ideas bleed hearts but do not build bridges?" That question struck deep, leaving Nathan teetering on the edge of self-doubt as he prepared to respond. The room felt charged, breaths held as he realized this was not just his battle, but perhaps an awakening of his own inner strength. The moment stretched. Nathan understood the profundity of the stakes.
He was not just defending his town, but discovering the very essence of who he was meant to be. Through the haze of uncertainty, an urgent clarity arose. Would he rise
to the occasion, transformed by this trial, or would the shadows of doubt consume him whole? Nathan's heart raced as the mayor's challenge echoed in the room. The question hung there like a storm cloud, threatening to overshadow everything he had built in this moment. The gravity of the situation pressed down on him, the weight of expectation almost palpable. Above all, it brought a burn of self-doubt alive. Could he really bridge the gap between sentiment and progress? In that fleeting moment, Nathan could feel the fissures in his confidence. He glanced at the audience. Some leaned in, intrigued by his responses, while others remained trapped in loyalty to familiar power. It was a delicate balance, and he needed to be more than just a voice for idealism. This was about becoming the leader they needed, someone capable of navigating the storm between tradition and advancement. "Building bridges," he finally said, his voice cool as he pushed through the doubt. "Isn't that exactly what those of us who care about this town must do? If we are to move forward, we must learn from our past. It is the stories of our community, the laughter, the tears, that construct the framework for any real progress." As he spoke, Nathan's rhythm established a precarious dance. He needed to celebrate both his vision for the future and the essence of his town's heritage. It wasn't an emotional plea. This was his groundbreaking strategy. The challenge was to place the abstract on a tangible level, to make his arguments resonate on a personal level with each listener. He remembered each face from the cramped cafe, each citizen who had spilled their heart over the clinking of cups. This speech wasn't just about him. It was about their aspirations, their fears. "The truth is," he continued, locking eyes with the mayor, "this town is more than a backdrop for development. It is a living, breathing entity deserving of respect. The projects you speak of may build more shops, but they could erode our culture, the very fabric of our community." It was a gamble. Nathan recognized the risk of putting the emotional appeal at the forefront, but it countered the mayor's detached logic. An electric energy buzzed through the room as murmurs rippled and a few heads began to nod. Had he struck a chord? But the mayor, far from rattled, leaned back with his characteristic smirk, an impenetrable fortress of confidence. "And will your heart be enough to pay the bills, Nathan? Sweet talk may stir the crowd, but I'm offering results. We need jobs, revenue, and stability." Nathan felt the sting of those words, a reminder of the harsh truths he had tried to soften. The push and pull of their argument revealed his glaring insecurities. Could he actually present a viable alternative? He took a breath and allowed clarity to wash over him. This was pivotal, more than just a political statement. It was an opportunity to solidify his sense of purpose. Stability means different things to different people. The strength of our community lies in how we adapt creatively to change, how we craft solutions that honor our traditions while embracing opportunity. With every word he spoke, Nathan started to affirm his own belief in the power of narratives and connection. He was not just opposing a policy, he was forging a vision that could better the lives of his neighbors without compromising the town's soul. As he stood tall, a surge of determination coursed through him. Nathan no longer felt like a novice, unsure of his footing. He was crafting a compelling counter-narrative, and it felt right. With each moment, he became more adept at wielding this newfound strength, solidifying his direction. Yet the air in the room shifted once again, tension crackling as the mayor prepared his next retort. "But can we afford to wait while you play the idealist?" That loaded question hung heavily above Nathan. It was clear now, he was in a two-way duel, wrestling not only with the mayor, but with the perceptions and expectations he feared might trap him. With every word exchanged, he felt the crucible of transformation shaping him into a more formidable force.
The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, and Nathan knew his next move could either seal his growth or reveal his fragility. Would he continue to rise above adversity or crumble under the weight of urgency surrounding him? This moment would dictate the path he was destined to walk. As the mayor's gaze bore down on him, charging the atmosphere further, Nathan recognized the depth of what was at stake, both for himself and for the town. The stakes had never felt this high. Every ounce of his resolve would have to come forward now. Would he seize the challenge before him or succumb to the shadows, a fleeting thought amidst the chaos? The next truth awaited him like an uncharted road, fraught with uncertainty yet infused with potential. It was a choice he had to make or risk losing himself entirely. Nathan could feel the weight of the mayor's challenge pressing down on him like an unyielding force. Every pair of eyes in the room seemed to scrutinize him, evaluating not just his words, but the very essence of his character. He pushed back the last remnants of doubt lingering in his mind, steeling himself for the confrontation that lay ahead. This was beyond mere politics. It was a test of his identity, of who he was becoming, not just for himself, but for everyone who had confided in him. Can we afford to wait? The mayor's voice sliced through the room again, the disbelief palpable. Nathan recognized the disdain hidden behind those words. It was a challenge that demanded a decisive response. "You want results, I get it," he began, deliberately infusing his voice with resolve. "But let me ask you, what kind of results? The extraction of profit at the expense of our culture?" In that moment, Nathan felt. The fissures in his heart began to mend. The words came easier, flowing like a current that connected him with the audience. True progress doesn't mean discarding our roots. It means evolving while honoring the stories that built our town. Each pause he took felt more powerful, as if he were weaving a tapestry rather than merely delivering a speech. He peered into the faces before him, and something shifted within him. An awareness of the privilege that lay in speaking not just for himself, but on behalf of hundreds who had been forgotten in the name of commercial growth. And in that realization, Nathan found an anchoring force within him, one that fueled his conviction. "Stability is a word that carries different meanings," he continued, his confidence surging. "It can't just mean profit margins and bottom lines. Our traditions are not roadblocks. They are part of our infrastructure. Let's meet entrepreneurship halfway by integrating the hopes of our people into the foundation of any revitalization." As the murmurs spread through the audience, Nathan caught a glimpse of the mayor's face, now twisted in discontent. This wasn't the battle the older man had anticipated. Nathan was evolving before everyone's eyes. But did he fully believe in this newfound direction? Or was he simply playing the role of the idealistic dreamer? Could he sustain this momentum? The questions danced in the back of his mind, taunting his resolve. But there wasn't time for introspection now. Time to navigate deeper into the fray. "So tell us, Nathan," the mayor barked, a predatory gleam in his eye. "Who's going to pay for this vision of yours? The people can only afford so much sentiment when it comes to their livelihood." The challenge was clear. He now had to combat not just the mayor's perspective, but the fear that lay beneath it. Nathan squared his shoulders, drawing from the deep well of his recent experiences. "What if we didn't view paying for dreams as a burden?" he proposed. "Investing in our community should be seen as an act of faith, not an expenditure. When people feel valued, they give back. Our history shows that." The atmosphere shifted once again, and Nathan saw small faces in the crowd bobbing in agreement. He had driven a wedge into the mayor's argument, not with numbers, but by invoking something deeper. But lurking beneath Nathan's growing excitement was that gnawing doubt, a familiar voice whispering that he was treading on shaky ground. If the mayor turned the tide against him, would he have the emotional resilience to regain his footing? The stakes were rising with every beat of his heart. As the silence stretched, Nathan felt the pressure building around him like a taut wire. This would either be a breakthrough moment or evidence of his fragility laid bare. He could sense the expectations resting like a mantle on his shoulders. People were counting on him to uncover a path forward. What emerged next would set the stage for a transformative decision. Would he challenge the mayor yet again with a daring proposal, or would he step back, surrendering to the reality that loomed in the shadows? The room buzzed with potential, and as Nathan readied to make his next move, he felt the crossroads ahead. The moment of truth was approaching. Nathan took a deep breath, weighing his options as the air thickened with anticipation. He had come this far, pushing against the current of doubt and fear, and he felt an unyielding urge to push further. Wasn't this what he had been striving for? A chance to reshape the narrative of his town, to inject meaning back into conversations that had been reduced to mere transactions. Every pair of eyes was glued to him, and Nathan could sense the collective breath held between them, waiting for his words to break the silence. "Let's consider this. What is our legacy worth?" he asked, instinctively leaning closer to the crowd, sensing their unease morph into curiosity. It felt as if he were planting seeds, and he prayed for fertile ground. We can't quantify the value of our heritage in dollars. When we forget who we are, when we simply chase profit, we diminish ourselves. We're one bad investment away from losing everything that makes us unique. The mayor scoffed, but Nathan ignored him, allowing the momentum he had built to move him forward. What are we if not the sum of our stories? The businesses that thrive here have roots that dig deep into our community, and they flourish not just through commerce, but through compassion and connection. An energy rippled through the attendees, and Nathan could see their apprehensions start to fade. He was gaining ground, and that glimmer of hope stoked a fire within him. Drawing on the energy, Nathan dared to think bigger. Imagine an initiative that blends our past with our future, a shared marketplace that celebrates local artisans and entrepreneurs alongside modern commerce. This could serve as a foundation for sustainable growth, where every dollar spent amplifies the community's voice rather than silencing it. His proposition hung in the air, and for a moment, he believed he could almost see the possibilities reflected back at him in their eyes, but doubt still harbored in his mind. Would anyone truly back this vision? Would the mayor allow it? "Why should we support this pipe dream?" the mayor snapped, narrowing his eyes. "You think people will invest in sentimental notions? They want real solutions. They want stability." Nathan felt his heart race, the mayor's dismissal stinging like a reprimand from a parent. But he had persevered too far to turn back now. Here's the truth. Stability can coexist with innovation. We need not view tradition as an obstacle or an inefficient relic. It can coexist with fresh concepts and ideas. Disconnecting from our roots is a grave mistake, one that history has taught us all too well. Yet, as he spoke, Nathan struggled against the tide of doubt that threatened to unmoor him once more. Was he naive for clinging to the fragile hope of compassion and shared growth? His throat went dry as he glanced at the faces around him. Some looked uncertain, others intrigued. Could he genuinely inspire a positive shift, or was he spiraling down that same path of disillusionment he once despised? The mayor's expression was unreadable. Nathan sensed ice forming beneath them, a tension that could snap at any moment. He had provoked the older man's fierce opposition, and he understood the risk he faced now. He could be the catalyst of change, if only he could find a way to translate his vision into something tangible. But beneath the rising stakes, an unexpected realization simmered. Perhaps this wasn't just a moment about drawing battle lines against the mayor or defending culture. It was about uncovering his own resilience. From the depths of his doubt, he grasped a pivotal truth. Standing here was an evolution not only of his ideas, but of himself. He was no longer a passive observer of his town's fate. He was an active player shaping its future. The clock was ticking, and Nathan knew he had to make a choice.
Would he cement his argument with a bold, definitive plan that dared to encapsulate his vision, or falter under the weight of the mayor's skepticism? The tension in the room was electric, no longer just a matter of political maneuvering. It was personal, and he felt the world holding its breath, waiting for him to act. "Let's put it to a vote," Nathan challenged, locking eyes with the mayor. "A voice for all. How many here believe in preserving our legacy as we build a future?" With that call to action, Nathan steeled himself for the response. His future and that of his town suspended in uncertainty. Would they follow him into this unknown? As hands began to raise, some hesitant, others defiant, Nathan's heart raced, knowing that whatever the outcome, he was standing at the precipice of transformation. But the real question lurked in the dark corners of his mind. If this was a stepping stone for him, what would come crashing down if he failed? As a wave of hands hesitantly rose, a cacophony of murmurs rippled through the gathering, illuminating a spectrum of emotions. Nathan's heart hammered in his chest, each pulse echoing the silent question he dared not voice. What had he unleashed? It was exhilarating yet terrifying, the uncertainty coiling around his very core like a snake ready to strike. He could sense the mayor's frustration, the ire simmering just beneath the surface. "You presume to speak for everyone?" the mayor shot back, his words sharp as blades, cutting through the moment. "Do you truly believe people want to throw their resources into your dream rather than into responsible investments?" Nathan felt a flush creep up his neck, sweat trickling down his brow. But this was no time to waver. "I don't speak for everyone, but I dare to voice the aspirations of those who feel unheard." His own intensity surprised him, a fire lit from a spark of conviction. As the crowd murmured again, some still unsure, but many visibly stirred, Nathan realized he was no longer just advocating for a project. He was laying bare a fundamental truth about their identity. He had transitioned from conveying a vision to challenging their complacency. Yet, with each rising voice in agreement, the shadows of doubt clawed at his consciousness. What if they didn't fully back him? What if their dreams were shackled by fears he'd yet to address? The mayor shook his head, defiance stretching the lines across his furrowed brow. "This isn't about dreams or aspirations, Nathan. This is about practicality. A business does not run on wishes." With a deep exhale, Nathan locked eyes with a young woman in the crowd, whose enthusiasm was evident, but whose anxiety tempered her excitement. He recognized that look. He too had felt it countless times before. The weight of expectations pressing down, the gnawing fear of failure that could silence even the most passionate of voices. In that moment, clarity washed over him. It was about more than just the initiative. It was about the struggle each person faced, embodying that very inner conflict that had followed him his entire life. Would he allow fear, adoration to quell his potential? He wouldn't burden those around him with doubts he could shoulder himself. "Listen," Nathan called out, his voice carrying powerful resonance. "You have reason to be cautious, but change requires discomfort. It's in moments of uncertainty that true growth happens. Yes, this is risky, but worth it. Are we merely going to preserve memories of great stories, or are we going to craft new ones? I choose the latter, and I ask you to choose with me." Silence cascaded over the crowd, the tension palpable as each member grappled with the weight of his words. Was this mere bravado or a genuine call to arms? Nathan felt an urgency to reframe their perspectives, daring to give them hope in a world filled with despair and missed opportunities. A voice broke through the stillness. An elderly man, his gnarled hands trembling yet determined, shot up with enthusiasm. "I'm with you!" The ripple effect began. Others chimed in, voices interweaving, a harmony of chances taken in a landscape of loss. The mayor's face darkened, caught between disbelief and fury.
Nathan sensed the tides turning, but that heaviness of fear remained. With every hand that rose in agreement, the clarion call of his destiny weighed more heavily upon him. This moment, this growing support, could turn into the foundation for something remarkable. Yet, in the back of his mind, a nagging doubt lingered. What if he was leading them into a quagmire of disappointment? He had plans, and those plans required more than passion. They would demand discipline, unity, and resilience from all involved. It dawned on him, he must augment his vision with tangible steps, creating a roadmap for their
collective journey. "Thank you for your trust," Nathan managed, his heart swelling with a mix of pride and dread. "But let us also commit to creating a construct together, a method of accountability as we shape a vision that resonates with not just us, but generations to come." The atmosphere crackled with renewed energy, yet Nathan felt his mind teetering on the brink of an unforeseen calamity. Would clarity bring liberation, or would it plunge them deeper into chaos? The impending resolution clung to the air, promising change but threatening to unravel the very fabric of his plan. Tomorrow's dawn would not only bring new decisions, but challenges he could hardly fathom. As he stood among the faces that had come alive, he sensed impending storms laced with the clarity of purpose. The real test was fast approaching, blurring the lines between triumph and disaster. And deep within, a seed of determination germinated. He would not surrender. He must act, for this was not merely about a concept or vision. It was about proving to himself and the town he loved that stepping into the unknown was where true transformation began. But what revelations awaited him as he navigated the uncharted waters ahead? Nathan awoke the next morning with a visceral sense of urgency. The shadows cast across his mind from the gathering felt heavier than before, a testament to the challenges lying just out of reach. As sunlight crept into his room, it illuminated the reality that today would shape not only his future, but that of many. Structuring the chaos of his thoughts was an arduous task. He needed to convert the support of the previous day into actionable steps. Should he not create a detailed plan, vulnerability would lurk in every corner of his proposed initiative. Above all, it was vital to establish a roadmap that everyone could follow, a series of milestones redeemable by a rising tide of accomplishments. As he jogged to the park, the rhythmic pounding of his feet matched the pace of his heart. Each step resonated not only with determination, but also with the echo of self-doubt. Yet he continued, whispering to himself, "They believe in this. You believe in this." It was a fragile mantra, one that faltered under the weight of impending reality. Reaching the park, he breathed in the crisp morning air laced with the scent of dew-kissed grass. Holbooth Park had always been a place of respite, yet today it became his war room. A vein of fresh ideas flowed through him like blood through the heart of his vision. He needed to channel the energy from the crowd into a formidable plan. Nathan laid out a rough sketch on a bench, each detail comprising an essential part of his vision. He mapped opportunities for collaboration, divided responsibilities among enthusiastic supporters, and established checkpoints to evaluate progress. As the elements slowly fell into place, he felt a surge of purpose. Each bullet point sculpted the outline of a future defined not only, but by tangible actions, persuasive enough to silence the conservative voices that earlier derided him. "Change is a process," he muttered through clenched teeth, feeling the tension of each syllable consuming him. He took a moment to detach himself from the urgency, seeking solace in the cool shade of the oak trees. The wisdom of listening echoed in his mind. Listening earned trust, and trust would solidify their fragile alliance. With every heartbeat, he confronted the inner critic. What if the very plans he laid in the sunlight became the foundation of failure? He was haunted by the image of the mayor's scorn, punctuated by the feeling of moral responsibility that swam within him.
The burden of leading others weighed heavily, urging him to deny his brilliance and retreat into the comfortable embrace of mediocrity. Yet the support from the crowd lingered in his mind like a delicate dance over undulating waves. The belief in something greater was infectious. The day evolved into a bustling whirlwind of conversations. Nathan orchestrated strategies among friends who had become allies, collecting insights that sculpted not only the method of implementation, but fortified personal connections. Excitement replaced anxiety, and visions of a transformed community echoed out loud, generating traction within his core group. A pivotal moment arrived when Caroline, the breath of enthusiasm he had noticed in the crowd, boldly approached him and asked a question. "What assurances do we have that things will change? It's all talk without action." Nathan felt the heat rush to his cheeks. This was not just a challenge, but an opportunity to face the very fears that could undercut everything he had built so far. He needed to reassure not just Caroline, but everyone who had placed their hopes into his hands. "I'll be the first to hold myself accountable," he asserted, finding strength as he spoke. "Let's create a board with goals, timelines, and regular updates. We'll measure our steps forward and hold each other to our promises." Caroline nodded slowly, as if weighing the implications. "That could work. We need to know it's about real action, not just good words." There it was. His answer lay not only in the dialogue with others, but in affirming his evolving sense of leadership. This was a revelation that came from confrontation, urging him to dig deeper within himself. Pushing aside fleeting doubts and exploding confidence, Nathan realized that facing the critics was as vital as believing in a vision. It required holding himself accountable, but also galvanizing others to share in that commitment and responsibility. As he wrapped up the day, one thought lingered. Change was an unpredictable journey that demanded continuous navigation. The ideas that emerged today were only the beginning. Tomorrow, he would gather everyone to discuss the actionable plans and instill the accountability they needed for progress. But as he prepared to leave, a sudden realization struck him. While this newfound direction provided clarity, what truths lay hidden behind the fears he had yet to confront? Was he truly ready to challenge himself further? Tomorrow's meeting would unveil layers of not just their plans, but of his own willingness to confront the deepest doubts he carried. What truths awaited in the shadows of his own ambitions? Nathan stood at the threshold of yet another critical meeting, but this one felt uniquely transformative. The sun had barely risen, casting gentle rays through the curtains of his childhood home, illuminating the plans and notes he had painstakingly crafted. As the townspeople trickled into the community center, he felt both anxious and exhilarated. Today was not merely about discussion. It would be the decisive moment that tested both his vision and leadership. He welcomed everyone with a warm smile, amplified by the familiarity pulsing through the crowd. Gone were the days when he felt disconnected from this very community. Today, he was recognized not as an outsider, but as a leader, one capable of forging a renewed bond with the past while daring to dream of the future. "Thank you all for being here," he began, grounding himself with steady breaths. "Today, we stand at a crossroads, a place defined by our history and driven by our collective aspirations." He could sense the anticipation. The room pulsated with the potential of shared voices. He unveiled the layered action plan, each step meticulously structured around forging connections and nurturing empathy. "We've gathered our ideas and concerns, and now it's time for us to take tangible steps forward, not just for this year, but as a legacy that will resonate for generations." As he laid out specifics, the energy in the room shifted. He articulated his vision of a new marketplace, one that honored local artisans while inviting innovation. "We will build a space that showcases our community identity, an embodiment of our collective spirit." Each detail elicited a response.
A nod here, a murmur of agreement there. Nathan felt emboldened, proof surging through him, an unyielding sense of purpose fueling him against the backdrop of potential detractors. Yet underneath that excitement lurked a familiar tide of doubt. The mayor's dismissive critiques echoed in his mind. Would the townsfolk buy into this? Would they stand beside him when the winds of skepticism whip strong? These lingering questions threatened to fracture this moment of connection, but Nathan propelled forward, undeterred, transforming each uncertainty into a motive for resolute action. Accountability is paramount, Nathan emphasized, eyes scanning the room. We'll form a committee to oversee this project, and every member will contribute to its success. We're not here just to talk, we're here to act. A series of hands sprang up, eager faces filled with passion. Voices bled into conversation, enthusiastic suggestions poured forth, momentum building like a tide. Each idea added strength to the framework he envisioned, and while Nathan felt the first inklings of true leadership emerging, he remained anchored in the present. This collective was about to reshape everything they all knew. Together, we will measure our progress. Monthly updates, community forums, and an open forum for ideas. This will no longer be a dream. This will become our reality, he stated, urgency resonating with the crowd. By the end of the meeting, Nathan stood on solid ground, fortified by communal commitment. The faces that had been skeptical weeks ago now glimmered with the excitement of possibility. People he had once considered mere remembrances of his past were now vibrant threads in the collective tapestry he was drafting. But amidst the triumph, an undeniable weight lingered on his shoulders. Could he keep the momentum going when challenges arose? Would the support he had garnered hold firm in the face of opposition? He would need to lead with unwavering resolve, but also remain grounded in the humility he had cultivated. The day concluded with a sense of renewal. As he made his way home, Nathan felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. He had bridged the gap between his past and his present, weaving the threads of lost dreams into a vibrant, collaborative future. The air outside felt different as he stepped into the evening. It sparkled with possibility and resolve. Back at the house, he stared at the canvas of one of his grandmother's paintings hanging crookedly on the wall. The colors swirled with life, capturing the spirit of their town as vibrantly as his new vision. She had poured herself into her art, illustrating the legacy that was now his to uphold. He smiled, feeling a renewed purpose ignited within him. Facing the mayor would still be an uphill battle, no doubt, yet he would not shy away from it. He would approach it as an opportunity not only to protect the town he loved, but also to affirm his sense of self-worth and shared identity. And so he conquered both the external doubts and inner fears. He emerged not just as a leader, but a catalyst for change, transformed, determined, and ready to honor the legacy that had inspired him to return home. Nathan Reynolds had risen, and he felt equipped to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As days melted into weeks, he fostered the development of the project alongside enthusiastic team members, their shared commitment reflecting his grandmother's lost vision. The plan shifted from an abstract concept to a grounding reality, drawing support from every corner of the community. It was more than just a project. It was a revival of shared dreams, a testament to potent transformation, and a personal achievement that resonated deep in his core. This was the moment of truth he had yearned for. The tangible connection he had forged with his past was now solidifying into the foundation of his future. He was not just a millionaire anymore, nor merely a man returning home. Nathan Reynolds had transformed into a visionary leader whose journey of growth intertwined with his community, inspiring every person within it to reclaim the narratives of their lives. So here it was, the solid confidence he had long sought. He was recognized not only for his determination, financial success, but for breaching the confines of selfish ambition to prioritize shared values. There was an authentic pride swelling within him, a sense of accomplishment deserved through personal evolution. Nathan stared into the horizon brightening with dawn, embracing the promise that tomorrow would bring. Today, he had not just readied a plan, he had committed to a cause, and he had stepped boldly into the light of his true self. If you've enjoyed this incredible journey of personal triumph and transformation, it's time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that uplift and inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support our community, because your engagement makes a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about Nathan's bold journey and realization. What resonated with you the most? And of course, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to spread the power of personal overcoming stories. Let's empower each other.